The 2024 USF 2000 IndyCar Championship racing season came to a close at Portland International Speedway last weekend with strong racing by Evagoras Papasavvas. Hello everybody, I'm Chuck Gibson with another Evagoras Papasavvas race report on Loveland Beacon Talks Sports Special. With the racing season finished for 2024, Evagoras joins us for one last racing recap, recounting the season and maybe a peek at what's ahead in 2025 for the talented 16-year-old race driver. Let's get right to Evagoras now. Well, good afternoon, Evagoras Papasavvas. Welcome back once again to another Loveland Beacon Talks Sports Special, and we call it Tracking Evagoras Papasavvas Racing. How are you?
I'm doing good. Battling the heat here in Cincinnati, but yeah, I'm doing good. I feel like we had a decent end to the season, so just looking forward and making plans for next year.
Excellent. Well, we're gonna go back. We're gonna go. Well, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna go all the way back to the streets of St. Petersburg, and then we're gonna roll through the entire season. And I'm gonna, I made some notes, but I'm gonna let you talk about it. But I made some notes, so let's go back, and I'm gonna start it out like this, Evagoras. First off, thank you so much for joining us once again and taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, trust me, it's my pleasure. I just enjoy. I love talking racing with you, no matter what happened.
Yeah, right.
And of course, we could recap. But we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna go all the way back to the streets of St. Pete. We could recap that Portland weekend, and we will get to that. But I'll say this right off for the people: you didn't get the results you were hoping for at Portland, but Evagoras, I saw all three of those races. I watched them on the live streaming. I would have loved to have been in Portland for it, but all I did was watch them on the live streaming. Anybody listening to this that was either there or watched them on the live streaming is going to tell you the same thing. And hopefully others have already said this. You drove three outstanding races. Your driving was strong. I was just, I couldn't have been, it's not for me to say, but I couldn't have been happier with your driving effort in those three races. And like I said, we'll get to that. But I just wanted to let you know, hey, just as a broadcaster and somebody that's doing these podcasts with you as a reporter covering it, it was just really something. You drove three really strong races, regardless of what the results looked like at the end of the day. So, just wanted to let you know that.
Yeah, thank you. So, and like I said before, going into Portland, I'm just going to focus on my driving, do what I can. And I did, and I just, leave the rest to God and His plan. And it turned, how it turned out obviously wasn't ideal from what I wanted, but there's a reason for everything. So we're just going to look forward and keep our eyes up.
Right. So we'll get to that. But anyway, going all the way back, because we want to go through this 2024 championship season. So there's a couple things. I'm going to start it like this. You started the season just like you ended it, very strong. Excellent driving, displaying the great skills that you do have right from the beginning, and podium finishes. Somehow that first victory of the season was elusive early on, but great consistency and strong racing, and starts at St. Pete with the two races on the streets of St. Petersburg. First race of the season. A P2 for you up on the podium. Second race of the season, a P3 for you up on the podium again. What do you recall from that first weekend of racing back on March 8th and 9th in St. Petersburg?
The first weekend of racing was pretty good. St. Petersburg, first two races, two podiums, very good, consistent results, and that's what we needed. It was good to finish off St. Pete. It was good, strong results, and knowing that we'll be able to fight for the championship the rest of the season. Because that's what the first race of the season always has, is that mystery of, where's everyone going to be pace-wise who's going to be the best, and all that. How's everyone going to fall into place? So yeah, it was really good that we were able to show our pace at the top.
Yeah, well, it was definitely, like you said, P2, P3, and then revealing what that championship battle was going to look like, because, P1 in those races went to some guy named Max Garcia. I think we became very familiar with that name as the season went on.
Yeah.
And congratulations to Max and to Pabst Racing on ultimately winning that driver championship. But again, the week one showed you who's who and what's what. There's Evagoras Papasavvas, there's Max Garcia, there's Sam Corey, and as the season wore on, it was Max Garcia, Sam Corey, and Evagoras Papasavvas, and then throw Max Taylor into the mix as the season went on. And you guys battled 1, 2, 3, 4 all season long. But anyway, that's how it started at St. Pete. And I know one other thing I wanted to ask you. Does it still feel the same? The season's over. Do you recall that excitement of that first week and that environment? Because I remember you telling me, and so I don't want people to get it wrong, but telling me that like that party atmosphere on the streets of St. Petersburg, and it's just a whole different kind of animal. You still feel that?
Oh yeah, for sure. I definitely still feel that, and I'm gonna, constantly. It's gonna be just like part of the event at St. Petersburg. Every time you talk about it or think about it, it's just part of it. It's part of what it is. Just that mood and that vibe, like I said. But yeah, so I definitely still remember that, even though it was long ago. But looking back at it, it felt like it wasn't even that long ago. The season went by really quickly, and we're already done with the season. So I mean, it's definitely going to be something to remember for sure.
Yeah. Well, that solid start continued for you as you moved just about 1 month later, and the USF 2000 series moved to Louisiana to the NOLA Motorsports Park for a 3-race weekend, April 5th through the 7th. And again, for the people, talk about strong driving and consistency. Evagoras, 3 consecutive P2s on the podium, and stringing together at that point 5 consecutive podium finishes. But what do you recall about that the 3-race weekend at NOLA Motorsports Park? What do you recall from that?
Yeah, I mean, NOLA, it was really just NOLA. All it was just consistency, just getting the same result. The same result at the top. Getting good points for the weekend. At the end of that weekend, I was the driver to come back with the most points. So it was very good for the championship. And I mean, it was really good overall, finishing second. We talked about it in previous episodes of, it should have gotten my first win of the season there, but, like I said, that's racing, stuff happens. But I mean, so other than that, it was good. Our pace was there, and, once again, we proved that we'd be a championship contender.
Yeah. Well, and you just hinted at it, and I'm glad you mentioned it, Evagoras, because the things to come as the 2024 USF 2000 championship season went on, there were some things, there were some calls, and at that NOLA, you just mentioned it, should have collected your first victory there. You're talking about that race where right at the end there was a restart off of a full course yellow, and you and I and a whole bunch of other people were scratching our heads about how that restart went, with you leading the pack. As you came around, the pace car leaves the track, you're going to go green flag racing, and the guy that was in 5th passed the 4 cars in front of him and ultimately gains the race victory. And there were some questions on the official's call on that, whether he jumped the start or what happened there. But that's, again, it was kind of a forebearer of things to come on some of the things that took place. But as you said then, and you say today, it is part of racing. And bottom line is, for the weekend in NOLA, 3 P2s on the podium. You got a 5 podium finish streak, and you had from that April 5th through 7th in Louisiana. You go May 9th through the 11th at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for races number 6 and 7 of the season on that Indianapolis Grand Prix circuit race. First race, a 4th place finish. First time for the 2024 season, and you just missed another podium finish. Would have been 6 for 6, but 4th place finish in race number 1. And then unfortunately, the second race in Indianapolis was you're out early. I forget how many laps to go, but damage took you off. Took you out of the race early. But what do you recall about that first race and that 4th place finish and battling for it there at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway?
Yeah, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, it was good all weekend long. That was really the weekend where we made the most progress on the car that prepared us for the rest of the season. And it was a very hard fought race weekend for sure. There wasn't a moment where I was just all alone. I was always fighting someone, so it was very good to get that experience. It was very fun while doing it for sure. So that was really a really pivotal moment in the development of the car within the team. We definitely developed the car a lot throughout that season, and throughout that event. And then we showed the pace that we had. We proved that we made a lot of good developments on the car by showing our pace in the next rounds and the rest of the season.
Sure. Well, you know what? And that pace, to be fair, I say, hey, race number 1 just off the podium. Race number 2, you were battling, and I think it was in that first turn where, and I think it was Schraggy that came down and clipped your wing at the front there and caused the damage, which ultimately cost you, the place, the positioning and the unable to finish is, something else went wrong and the engine died on you. But again, you made progress. I forgot all about that. You get caught up sometimes in what the result was. But doggone it, Evagoras, you're right. You guys made great progress with the car. You had the pace, and you were right there battling for P1, P2 when your wing got clipped in that. And again, you may remember better than I. I think it was in that first turn, but I don't recall for sure.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't in the first turn. It was turn 4, I believe. It was turn 4. So still in the very first few corners of the track. So very beginning of the track.
Yeah.
Was the last. So made that contact. Unfortunate, but that happens. That happens a lot in racing with how close you're driving. You're racing against each other, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, then it's bounce back because that's one of the worst things anybody ever wants to hear is DNF, did not finish, but you bounce back and you're at the Lucas Oil Speedway. The oval track in Indianapolis just 2 weeks later, or almost 3 weeks later, for the oval racing again at the Lucas Oil Motor Speedway, and it's a bounce back for you. Boom, you're with that's a 1 race event, and you jumped right back into a podium finish there with a 3rd place finish. What did that mean to you? Again, bouncing back and getting right back on the podium for your 6th podium out of 8 races, Evagoras.
Yeah, it was very good to get that podium once again, to show, like I said, the improvements that we made on the car to be able to bounce back on the oval. It was very good on the oval to be able to secure that podium position. Once again, good points for the championship to bring back. From then on, it was really... after the oval, our pace was there. Our pace was there to win all the races. But, that's when, like at Road America, for example, the luck wasn't on our side. But, yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to get there. Hey, a side note, Lucas Oil was a fun one for you because when you got up on that podium in the P3, the guy standing at the top of the podium, P1, was your teammate from the J. Howard Driver Development Team, Tanner DeFabis. And so what a fun day that is for you guys as teammates to go up on the podium together, yeah?
Yeah, it was really great to be up on the podium with Tanner to support him for his first series win, because I remember when it was my first series win in July of 2023 at Mid-Ohio. So yeah, it was really good to celebrate his first win with him.
Yeah. Well, and again, pace was there. You were in it. Obviously you're in it to win it, but getting back on the podium, showing that consistency and that strength of driving skills. And then you just touched on the next place you went. Early June, a couple of weeks after that Lucas Oil trip, you're at Road America at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, and you're there for races number 9 and 10 on the season. And what the heck, race number 1, some kind of a mechanical failure right from the start. So you don't even get a chance to show your pace in race number 1, but big time bounce back. Race number 2, you're right back there battling for position and battling for a potential podium and a 5th place finish. What can you tell us about what happened and how it went for you at Road America?
Yeah, Road America, like I said, we had good pace as we did everywhere. But yeah, mechanical issues really plagued our season. And it can happen to anyone. So we just got really unlucky, unfortunate. But yeah, so we had some mechanical issues in race 1, which didn't allow me to start the race. So that was a big loss in the championship. Lost a lot of points there. But I mean, yeah. So we were able to bounce back again. This season was really just all about bouncing back from previous mishaps. Yes, you're able to bounce back and finish 5th in the next race 2 at Road America.
Yeah, I can't imagine. What is the what's that emotional roller coaster like for you as a driver when I can't even imagine the frustration when the car just doesn't start and you don't start. You're sitting there, ready to go, ready for the green, ready to get out there on the track and go, and the car just doesn't cooperate. But the roller coaster of emotions when you come back, whatever the frantic pace was to get everything in order and get the car in shape and race in that, second race of the weekend at Road America. What can you recall about like that roller coaster for you and bouncing back for that 5th place finish in the race number 2?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about just having that mental clarity. Just have that mental clarity to just be able to push past all of those unfortunate events and to be able to trust in God's plan and just to continue moving on and doing what you need to do. Continuing to do your job to the best of your ability. And then, just let everything happen because, everything happens for a reason. And that was like the biggest thing that was going through my mind the whole season.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And for the listeners, I'm going to throw in a little Chuck commentary real quick. That lends itself also when I talk about you, Evagoras, showing the strength of your driving skills, but also the consistency. And that's not just consistency on the track. For our listeners, you have demonstrated, and I've talked to you throughout the season, sometimes while at the race course with you, and sometimes, immediately after, but that consistency of the mental acuity and understanding what's happening and it's part of racing and consistently putting that, whatever may have happened behind you, whether it was great success or some kind of a, crazy mishap or whatever the case may be, a funky turn in the events, you're consistently turned your focus forward, prepared for the next race, and bounced back with another strong and consistent performance, in that number 6 J. Howard driver development car. Which brings us to talk about consistency and strength of, strong driving. Boom, you leave after races 9 and 10. And you got almost a month off. That was the first week of June at Road America, but almost a month off before you go to Lexington, Ohio, and the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. And that's a happy place for Evagoras Papasavvas, who claimed his first USF 2000 Series victory there 1 year ago during the 2023 season. And now there you are back at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. for a 3-race weekend. And, again, just for the people so they know how it went. Race number 1, maybe not necessarily what you were looking for with an 8th place finish, but let's get right to race number 2. Flag to flag, green to checkered, P1, and claiming your first 2024 USF 2000 racing season victory. And tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was great to finally get that win after working so hard. And, like I said before, like just bouncing back from everything that was thrown at us. And it finally paid off, and everything that I've worked for finally paid off. That mindset and everything, like I said before, I mentioned in the other races, just finally paid off. And it was just a whole lot of relief was just the big thing. It was just relief. And it gave me more confidence to continue to perform at my best, and to continue to push forward. So it was just a huge moment.
Well, picking up that, like you said, I could feel it. I wasn't in Lexington, but I could feel it back home here in Loveland, Ohio. That oh man, that big release, that sigh of relief, and just the joy of a victory for you. I mean, we could taste it right along with you. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was a really big moment. Yeah.
So
anyway, those were, that was a 3-race weekend at arguably your favorite sports car course, the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. 11, 12, and 13 on the race season, which then, you get a couple of weeks break. And I know you and I talked about it before it happened. You love those street races. And so you were headed from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course to the streets of Toronto. Different kind of street race setup than what you had in St. Pete, but another one of those street races that you love. And that's going to be a 2-race weekend in Toronto for you, that took place July 19th through the 21st. And, here we go again. You're coming off the success at Mid-Ohio. You don't quite get what you want in race number 1 at Toronto, ultimately a 12th place finish. But let's talk about that second race in Toronto, Evagoras. You did it again, flag to flag, green flag to checkered flag. Nobody ever caught you. And it's race victory number 2 in the USF 2000 season for you. How about that?
Yeah. I mean, that race 2, once again, was really good. And it was a relief because the past year, I was there. I wanted to win. We had the pace to win in the past, and we never managed to have that happen. So it was so good to get that win. It was so good to get that win in Toronto finally. I love that area. I love the people there. I love the track. It's a street course, so it's just really great to win there for sure, in front of everybody in Canada.
Hey, you know what? How does that compare? Because we talked a little bit about how much fun the atmosphere. It's such a fun atmosphere at St. Pete when you kick off and I hate to use the term kickoff for racing season, but when you drop the green flag on the racing season at St. Pete, and it's that great fun atmosphere. How does the streets of Toronto? I mean, that street course atmosphere, is it similar, different, or what would you say?
Yeah, I mean, it's somewhat similar, but I still think St. Pete has a lot more of like that party atmosphere, like I said, because, everyone's there for the first event. Everyone's in, the nice weather in Florida.
Yeah.
And, we're with IndyCar. We're also with IndyCar in Toronto, but just because it's the first race of the season, for everyone, in St. Pete, then it's just such a huge deal.
Yeah. A different kind of energy, right?
Yeah, it's a different kind of energy, but it's still, a great street course event and track.
Yeah. Well, that was Streets of Toronto, July 19th through the 21st. Congratulations once again on picking up your second victory of the season. Keeping yourself right there in the running, and we mentioned it, battling all season long with those two guys from Pabst, Max Garcia and Sam Corey, and then Max Taylor got into the mix. So, you guys were 1, 2, 3, 4 with, especially, Max Garcia got out, kind of a nice points lead, sitting in first place. He had a little bit of a comfortable cushion, but between you and Sam Corey and Max Taylor still threatening to overtake Max Garcia, you guys battling for 2, 3, and 4. So when you finished up on July 21st in Toronto, you're not back racing again until you headed out to Portland last week for that August 22nd through the 25th. And again, a 3-race series finale at the Portland International Raceway. And, going into the race weekend, you were as much in contention for a driver championship as any one of those other 3 guys, Max or Sam or Max Taylor even. But the way things went, you guys started race number 1 and in fact raced the entire race of race number 1 at Portland in the rain on a wet course. Tell me about how that was.
Yeah, so in the rain, it was, we had good pace in the rain. We had a good car in the rain. It was pretty good. I started 12th that race, not a good qualifying performance. But ultimately I was able to make my way up into 2nd. And then, and then racing in the rain, everyone's so close, and then you have less grip in the rain. So, as I had an incident, as I was fighting for P2 in the race from 12th. And then that put me back down to 6th. So, not the best result for sure, as we could have been on the podium. But from 12th to 6th, nevertheless, even with that incident, is not too bad. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know what, and let's talk about that. We hinted at it a little bit with what happened at NOLA, which NOLA you could have easily had your first victory of the season, but of course settled for a P2 and on the podium that day at NOLA on a questionable call whether somebody jumped on the restart or not. Again, part of racing way back in the history, but just last weekend, race number 1 in the rain, and as you said, started 12th, consistently moving up and working your way and battling, in fact, battling for, in the P2 position. And it appears, moving into P1, the guy that was in the lead had gone up high on the course going into that turn where the incident occurred, Evagoras. And then he came down, right in front of you. Now that's in the rain on a wet course. Ultimately, we know you're very kind to say it was an incident, but the truth is, you get it at the end of the race. You finished 2nd after that incident, but then were moved back to that P6 because of a 10-second penalty imposed for what the officials deemed to be avoidable contact. And I just, we don't want to dwell on it heavy. And I know you as you always point out to me and remind me, it's part of racing. But what's your thoughts in terms of that ruling on a wet course? And I guess you've seen the replay, Evagoras. To me, and watching it live when it happened, and then watching the replay that they show, I see him come down where you were clean. And he comes down in front of you, and obviously you're braking. I really can't tell that. On the video, I can't see that you're braking. It's not like you lock him up on a wet course, but you're braking to avoid him. But the other thing is, you're steering up because you were down low on the inside, and you were steering up to avoid him. What's your thoughts on the ruling? Did you feel? Did you feel like you were doing everything you could to avoid it, and that maybe, that ruling didn't feel right to you, or what do you say?
Yeah, like I said, it's in the rain, so you have less grip, so it's a little bit more difficult to maneuver, have that agility. But yeah, if that was in the dry, definitely I would have been able to avoid it. But in the rain, driving that close and over the puddles and all of that, it makes it more difficult. So I just think, the penalty, it's what the official rules as fair, and sometimes you can't do anything about that. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, part of your consistency is maintaining that level head. Hey, that race is behind you. The penalty's the penalty. You get a 6th place finish after starting 12th. And then, boom, race number 2, you come out, and it's the story of Evagoras Papasavvas in the 2024 USF 2000 season because, boom, you bounce right back and get a P5. And that could even, and that's another one. There were some things that happened in that race. That could well have been a P1 for you as well. But either way, the story of the season, Evagoras bounces back from a little bit of turmoil in race 1 and just keeps his head, shows the skills, races a strong race, and pulls a P5. What do you recall from that second race at Portland, if anything special stands out for you? Other than it was dry, right?
Yeah. It was dry, nothing really special. Just once again started at the back, so working to make up positions. Managed to make my way up into 5th, and then we kind of just stayed there. As the gaps were too large to close up in the amount of time given to me.
Yeah. So those were. I'm trying to remember. Let's see. I'm losing my mind. They were, doggone it. What was the, I've lost, that was 25 laps, right, at Portland?
Yes, 25, yeah.
Yeah, 20. I was just trying to remember the lap count on that. But anyway, so I'm just trying to remember it out loud here as we're talking. So, nothing, again, nice dry course, worked your way up from a P12 start position and bounced back with a nice P5. Portland turned out not to be the weekend you were hoping for. But for the listeners at home, and again to you, Evagoras, here's the final tally. 6 podium finishes besides the 2 race victories. What a great season, and battling for the driver championship all throughout the 2024 USF 2000 racing season, and a great result with a 4th place overall finish, 326 points, and just 17 points out of that P3 in terms of the driver championship standings. How do you sum up your racing season?
Yeah, I just think it's been up and downs, really. We had our ups and then we had our downs. So it's been everything, all the emotions through one season. And I think I changed a lot as a driver and as a person throughout the season. Which anything, this season will just make me even more prepared for next season, where some big things are expected.
Yeah. Well, hey, I want to extend congratulations from us and on behalf of, those people who tune in to these Loveland Beacon sports specials, tracking the Evagoras Papasavvas racing and this time a season recap show. Again, on the behalf of the listeners and on my own personal feelings, congratulations on a very strong and consistent and solid 4th place finish for the USF 2000 season. I know a couple things, but I like you, I guess we don't know everything right now. I do know that probably the next time Evagoras Papasavvas is going to get on the track will be the series test in mid-October back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And I guess the plan, and you can correct me, I think I know the plan is you'll move up to that USF Pro Championship Series for next season. So I know everything's not in place for that, and you can't say it's a absolutely certainty how that's going to look. But if that's the case, when you take the track for series test October 19th and 20th at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, you looking forward to being in a USF Pro car?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it, to try something new. It's really exciting to keep moving up the ladder. So, I'm feeling ready to move up and to do big things in this series. So yeah.
Yeah, well, and again, I know that there's a lot of balls that have to be juggled before that day in October comes. But if it has to do with the what you've accomplished and what you've demonstrated on the track and behind the wheel of an Indy car, I think things will be all in good shape, and we're going to see Evagoras Papasavvas. We're going to track you on the USF Pro Championship circuit next year. How's that sound?
Yep, sounds good. Yeah, and yeah, thank you, Chuck, for everything this year, and also the audience as well, the people listening, supporting me, and everything like that. And I can't wait for next year. So thank you for everything.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And we would both of us would be remiss, but I don't want to cut you short in terms of that. I know you're grateful, and hey, trust me, it's my pleasure to have the opportunity for you to join me and share your racing experience and your racing series results. But also, I know you want to say thanks to all those people that maybe they got their stickers on the side of your car. Those people that are not just supporting you by saying, "Hey, we love you," but those people that are also coughing up a little bit of money and helping make this racing possible. So go ahead and toss a few of those thank yous out to them if you wish.
Yeah, thank you to Airs Elite Sports Division, to D1 Training, to Epsilon Investments, to Mavromatis Paris, to Tiger Natural Gas, Bodywise International, just everyone out there that has a sticker on the car, to RP Diamond, everyone out there who is helping me chase my dreams and to make my dreams come true.
Outstanding. Well, Evagoras, I'm sure that all of us supporters and even more of those sponsors are going to be excited about coming back for the 2025 racing season, and we'll look forward to seeing Evagoras Papasavvas behind the wheel of a USF Pro Championship car, and continuing with that Jay Howard driver development team. As far as I'm guessing that's the plan, and I don't want to put you on the spot on that, but we look forward to seeing you whatever car in that USF Pro circuit next year. And just one more time, Evagoras, thank you so much for sharing your time and your insights about the racing season and sharing it with us here on Loveland Beacon Talks sports special presentations. We're much appreciated, my friend.
Yep, thank you so much, Chuck, for everything this season.
All right, talk again soon.
Yep.
Evagoras, thanks again for sharing your story here on Loveland Beacon Talks Sports Special during another Evagoras Papasavvas Racing Update. We look forward to talking with you as you get ready this off-season for the possible move up to USF Pro Racing for 2025. For now, this is Chuck Gibson saying thanks for listening here on Loveland Beacon Talks Sports Special, tracking Evagoras Papasavvas Racing. Loveland Beacon Talks Sports Special and Evagoras Papasavvas Racing Reports are a presentation of Loveland Beacon Digital Media and Gibson Communications, LLC.